Hey guys, welcome back to the movie summary. Beginning of the movie we see the Quignard Research University. A man brings a mystery box. Actually, Quignard and his team do an experiment for the Nobel Prize. There is a baby penguin in that box. Now we see two scientists. Their names are Nadine and Philip. They are taking ppm and protein inside the penguin which boost immunity. They want to inject this protein into humans and see if they develop the same immunity as the penguin. They want to inject a chemical into the penguin. But there is no chemical in it. They called student named Christophine to bring injection. They appoint this girl in this research. Then they give the penguin an anesthetic injection. After that they take the penguin to the room where the penguins are. The room is next to Quignard's office. There are more penguins in that room. When Christophine puts the penguin down, it falls. Then Christophine is afraid that the penguin is dead. She checks its heartbeat. Then she hugs it. All this Quignard watches from his office. The penguin soon regains consciousness. Christophine is very happy to see this. As she stays in that room for a long time, she becomes immobile in it. Quignard tells her that Nadine forgot to adjust the room temperature. Too much cold will cause hypothermia effect on her. Quignard makes her to do warm up. Nadine covers her with a sheet. Quignard asks her to help with the upcoming experiments. He then gives her a book to understand the penguin's immune system. Next we see Siegfried. He likes Christophine. He invites her for a dinner date. Christophine says I can't come. Quignard is very disappointed in the meeting. Because the board did not give permission to experiment on humans. So the next day he tells two lies to the board members. He tells them that he is missing a stimulus to activate the ppm. Then they ask how they got lost. For that he lied that someone stole my data from my office and also damaged my lab. Actually, Quignard destroyed his lab. Because he needed more time to complete his research. Then the board will give 1 month time to complete the research. He gives his team 60 rats to do experiment. Then he goes into the penguin room and sits. The professors fear that Quignard will go into depression and commit suicide. Because he has not made progress in his experiment so far. Christophine knows this. Then she gets very scared. She loves Quignard. She injects ppm into her body. Quignard was not allowed to experiment on humans. Christophine tells him about what she did. Then he doesn't try to stop. Because he considers his research more important than Christophine. Later she loses consciousness. When Christophine regains consciousness, she finds herself in a box. Quignard tells her that I will do some experiments on you. And also thanks her for doing this. He then tells Nadine and Philip to take care of his lab. Because he now wants to focus completely on his experiments. Everyone in the lab looks for stimulate that activate the ppm. On the other hand, Quignard tells Christophine about his experiment. He then tells her to undress. Then Christophine feels uncomfortable. He touches her. Then she feels very relaxed. He gives her an electric shock. Then he tells her to eat diet food for a week. Also says to record everything she does outside the lab. Every day he conducts experiments on her. These experiments will cause her a lot of pain. So she gets very tired. One day she invites the Quignard for a dinner date. He says I have other plans so I can't come. Then Christophine is very sad. Because she sacrificed her body for his experiments. But he doesn't understand her love. Then she approaches Sieg. Sieg is very sad that his rats are dying. Christophine is also very sad. He says that if we gets intimate, the pain will go away. Later they both get intimate together in different positions. Next day ppm will be activated in Christophine's body. He is shocked to see this. He will know that this happens because their hormones are generated by being intimate. Later he gives her injections, but no blood comes out of her body. He is very happy that the experiment is a success. He then thanks his team and Siegfried. He then asks his staff to conduct an experiment on mice. He realizes that the ppm has been in Christophine's body for a while. Then for more ppm Christophine would have to intimate sometimes. Quignard tells her that one more time you will be intimate with Sieg. Christophine says we can't trust Sieg, there is a risk of telling this to anyone. That night they both become intimate. However, ppm is not activated in Christophine's body. Then Quignard asks her how you got intimate with Sieg. For that she tells him in which positions she is intimate with Sieg. From the next day they both try to become intimate in that oppositions. But they cannot intimate properly. All the other researchers in the lab are busy with their work. A few days later, Quignard becomes passionately intimate with her. Christophine becomes very weak through these experiments. So Quignard tells her to take rest. She wakes up. Then there will be some changes in her body. She is scared and wants to tell Quignard about this. On the other hand, he sits in the penguin's room. He feels sad that his experiment has failed. But he cannot think that ppm will cause side effects in Christophen's body. He doesn't care about Christophine love. So she suffers a lot. Christophine leaves without telling him. Next day he thinks to tell his teammates that his experiment failed. Meanwhile, Philip and Nadine tell everyone that their experiment was a success. Orgasm is the primary cause of ppm activation. ppm is activated by orgasm. Quignard is very happy to hear this. Now he remembers Christophine. He calls her, but he gets no answer from her. He is most famous for discovering ppm. His photos are printed in magazines. But he keeps thinking about Christophine. On the other hand, due to the side effects, there will be many changes in Christophine's body. The same changes occur in mice. Their feet are changing like penguins. This Quignard thinks that this is the reason why Christophine is not meeting him. Soon he goes to her house. There, Christophine lying in the bathtub with ice cubes. He brings her to the lab. Quignard feels very guilty for experimenting on her. Nadine and Philip tell him that the rats they experimented are dead. Then he realizes that soon Christophine will die too. Then Christophine tells him to send me to Antarctica, there I will live. He then sends her to Antarctica. Afterwards he would always remember her. He then takes the injection which he gave to Christophine. Later he also wants to go to Antarctica and stay with Christophine. Because now he loves her. There they both meet. This is how this movie ends. I'm working hard to make these videos, it's my humble request to subscribe my channel.